I'm not required to relinquish my personal boundaries. And I want y'all to like listen to that. Rewind the video back. Listen to that passage as many times as necessary, because you may be the person that is currently suffering. I say suffering for a reason. You may be the person that is currently suffering from proximity delusion. You could either be the victim or the person that is inflicting that proximity delusion onto another person. So this video is for either or. When I be in the workplace, I don't need I don't need any of them. But they get very clingy. And I realize that when you are not desperate, people want you. People want your attention. I'm not desperate at all. I don't chase after any of my coworkers because I'm busy working on my own stuff without them. If anything, I look at a friendship with them as a burden, because I feel that they're going to bring me down with their jealousy. Okay, so the reason why I put Pretty Girl Curse in the same title as Proximity Delusion is because a lot of women who end up suffering from proximity delusion, as in getting fired or being ostracized in the workplace or having people try to jeopardize their work or try to get in the way of their marriage or whatever it is, a lot of the times it's because of the quote-unquote pretty girl curse, right? It's because there is a weight to carry when you are physically attractive, but also when you're physically attractive and you're intelligent and you're good at your job. You know, it can be a curse all in one, where you're beautiful, you're intelligent, and you're also charismatic. It makes you public enemy number one. You know, it makes you a target for a lot of women, to the point where when you come into work, it's not work, but instead it's a battlefield. We call it a curse because it's like, dang, like you talking to me crazy because I'm pretty? Like, what? And even though I'm nice to you? And you know, I've had it, you know, it was at this job, proximity delusion was definitely present. I had a female who was just very rude to me, and every time I would try to talk to any male, anybody of the opposite sex, she would try to jump in front of me because she was so insecure. And it got to a point where I got tired of it, and I confronted her one-on-one, and she couldn't handle it. She got scared. And it always seems to happen when people, this happens with me, you know, when people, they think, oh, well, you know, it's just, because I'm kind of quiet, and I'm kind of like, I had a manager at a past job say, Sydney, you are a quiet storm. And she couldn't have said it better. You know, I'm one of those people where I'm quiet because I'm observing. I'm not quiet because I'm weak. And people assume that I'm quiet because I'm weak. I'm observing as a way to protect myself because of all the crap I have a tendency to experience in so many places, especially places with a lot of women. And so these women take my quietness and my smile and my friendliness as me being weak and an easy target. And then I'm just not that. I'm friendly because I like to make people feel good. And I feel like, you know, you only live once. I've been through a lot. Why are we arguing and fighting? I want to enjoy life. I want to have fun, you know, but I will go there if you want to go there, you know. And it's that repeated, oh, I thought you were so sweet. I didn't think that you had it in you. And, you know, I got it in me for sure. Because I'm not going to tolerate you treating me like I'm beneath you just because you feel, not me, you feel that I'm somehow better at something than you, or better looking, or have more friends, or whatever it is. And a lot of these are ideas that it wasn't in my mind until I interacted with you. And then, mind you, this woman was disrespectful towards me before I even got a chance to say a word out my mouth. She was looking at me with this masculine Shrek look. You know, because the woman she had poor self-care. I mean, poor self-care. People would say that she smelled bad. I ain't gonna get into that. But when I first walked in, this was a server job, by the way. When I first walked in, you know, she kind of had that look, like looking at me up and down. And I didn't get a chance. She never introduced herself to me. She just was rude to me from, fresh out the gate. She had a bad attitude towards me. I didn't do nothing to this woman. I didn't even know who she was. And she would jump in front of me when I was trying to talk to just any man. It wasn't women, it was only men. Because she just felt like she wanted... Well, some women are very controlling over the male species. And those women are narcissists. And they're very insecure. And she felt that she couldn't control me because I'm a free spirit. So when it comes to the workplace, the reason why the workplace is so challenging for quote unquote beautiful women is because the workplace, like Level Up Guru was saying in her video about proximity delusion, is that the workplace has a tendency to bring all types of people together, right? People who live in the hood, people who grew up with a silver spoon in their mouth, as opposed to people who had to, struggle for food and had to take care of their family at the age of 15, blacks, whites, people who have a more racist perspective and people who don't, and people who are more empathic versus people who are narcissistic, because jobs it's a place where people are just passing through, and this is my perspective on it. I've worked a lot of different jobs, but I don't feel like I just don't feel normal. Like I never really quite fit into any job. I never feel comfortable at any job I've ever worked. And I've worked many different types of jobs. I've always quit a lot of jobs because I didn't feel comfortable. I didn't feel like I fit in. I always felt like an outcast. And so when it comes to jobs, people are just passing through. We all know that at many of these jobs, especially like server jobs, fast food jobs, restaurant jobs, and I've worked all those kinds of jobs, retail jobs, you have a coworker that works there for 2 weeks and then they're gone. You have a coworker that's there for 2 days and they're gone. You have a coworker that works there for 5 months and they're gone. It's very much like people come in, they come out, because there's so many jobs out here that if you don't want to work that job because you found a job that pays more, you can just quit, right? You don't have to stick to a job. There's no, it's not mandatory, and then it's 2025. So a lot of people are finding better ways to make money. A lot of people are making money through TikTok nowadays, trying different TikTok products and all types of different stuff. And people are making money through the internet and online. And a lot more people, especially the younger generation, is realizing that we can make money in our own way, that we can be entrepreneurs and we can start our own business and things like that, right? So you got all types of people. People are drawn to jobs for different reasons. And the reason why it's hard on handsome men and beautiful women is because you're interacting with people that you would not have otherwise interacted with. And that's what, your Level Up Guru was saying. And I can speak on that, with the woman who got all wide-eyed when I told her that I had a theater job, and I regret that. I regret it, I make mistakes. I really be making mistakes out here in these streets. It ain't the streets. Let me correct that. It ain't the streets. I don't be out here in the streets. But for sure, I regret telling her that, because it was kind of like that look of like, I don't come across people like you very often. I don't come across people with that level of motivation and determination. And I know this to be true because she's been working at this place for much longer than me. I'm brand new. And the people that work here, who have also been working here for a while, I've talked to these people many times. And a lot of them just are not motivated. They really feel like going to smoke a blunt is an actual activity. I know you're watching this and you're like, what you mean by that? I'm smoking a blunt right now. That's fine. That's fine. But do you smoke a blunt and think that's the activity? Like somebody say, what you like to do for fun? And you say, well, I like to smoke blunts for fun. And I'm looking like, I don't think skating and gardening is the same as smoking a blunt. I feel like smoking a blunt is what you do to enhance skating and gardening. That's just my personal perspective. When you speak to somebody that has the idea that smoking a blunt is a way of life and they don't have to do anything but that, they don't have a life. I don't care what you say. And it shows in their behavior. Because the same people that say, well, I'm just smoking a blunt, and that's all I do when I get off work, I just smoke blunt. It shows. Because those are the same women, the same dudes. Well, let's talk about women. It's the same women who gossip about other women every time you talk to them. The same women that complain about how they hate the job. And you can tell in their body language and the tone of their voice and the things that they say that they feel trapped. Well, of course you're trapped. When you smoke a blunt, what does it do? It makes you lazy. And laziness leads you nowhere. You're not doing anything with your life, so of course you feel stuck. You can't move forward by sitting on the couch. And that's what smoking a blunt do. You're 30-something, and instead of having a career, you have this little entry-level job paying $10, $15 an hour. And the only thing you do on the side, instead of maybe working a second job or having a side hustle or having having an internship, which the theater job for me is an internship, which is an introduction to my career into theater. Instead of having some type of internship or something that will forward you and bring you closer to your career, you just be smoking blunts. And then you're confused. And then you get jealous, right? You're confused as to why you ain't further along in life. And you jealous of those that have good news about their life. And that's why I stopped telling people about the good that I have in my life. Because I see on their faces that they are not happy for me. The same people that smile in my face and try to act that they care about me. Co-workers at my current job. And they think that they can pull the wool over my eyes. And they can't, because I'm watching you. I'm listening to everything you say. And I'm not watching you to hurt you or to harm you. I'm watching you to protect myself. Because I'm not the type to watch people, ooh, how can I use her? I don't need you. And that's the thing. When I be in the workplace, I don't need I don't need any of them. But they get very clingy. And I realize that when you are not desperate, people want you. People want your attention. I'm not desperate at all. I don't chase after any of my coworkers because I'm busy working on my own stuff without them. If anything, I look at a friendship with them as a burden because I feel that they're going to bring me down with their jealousy, right? And like, oh, you pretty girl curse, right? You pretty and you motivated. Oh, you're definitely a threat now. Y'all, closing that curtain remind me of that scary ASS scene in The Others. Y'all know that movie, The Others, with Nicole Kidman? Bruh, watching that movie as a kid, that little lady, that old lady, I am your daughter. Hold on. I am your daughter. Yeah, I felt like that little boy in that scene where he ran across when the two little kids was in the room and the real boy, he ran across the room, he closed the curtain. Man, that scared the life out of me when I was a kid. I felt like him. What's his name? Victor? We watched that movie so many times when I was a kid. But anyway, it's so irrelevant to the topic of this video. So, yeah. These people, they know that if it wasn't for this job, they would not have access to you. They would not be interacting with you. And that lady who had the stretched eyes, she was real excited because she's like, I don't come across people like you very often. So then they the monitoring spirits, they love it. They love being in the workplace with people that are motivated and actually doing something with their lives because they have somebody to feed off of. Monitoring spirits, oh my God, I gotta make a video about that. We calling them dementors. The mentor, yeah. So anyway, yeah, pretty women, a lot of the times, it's not all it's cracked up to be. Because people assume they have something called pretty privilege, that they mistreat them. They're like, well, you always get what you want, so I can just treat you however way I want to. And they don't even really be as true as they think. You know? Us quote unquote pretty women, because for the longest, I didn't actually think that I was pretty until I got older and people started tripping when I put on a little bit of lipstick. And, I would get, a lot more male attention. I didn't really feel like that. And so now it's like, well, I have no choice but to think I'm pretty because of how women be acting around me, and it is what it is. So it's not fun. It has not been fun. It's been traumatic for me. I have not enjoyed it. You know, I feel like there's definitely advantages, and I want to make another video about the advantages of being a pretty woman. I don't want to make this like there's a lot of women on the internet that make these videos like it's just hard and it's really not that good, and it's just hard to make friends when you're pretty. And that's true. It's definitely true. When you're pretty and when you're motivated and when you have high standards and blah blah blah, it's very true. But there are certain things that you have access to when you are pretty that you may not have access to if you are not, and that is something that I do want to talk about in another video. But all in all, being pretty for me has been more of a traumatic and stressful thing than a very fun thing where I could just walk in the room and smile and everybody loves me. And no, it's like I walk in the room, I smile, and some people love me for it, and then other people hate me because I take the spotlight off of them. So it's hard. It's definitely hard. So it's hard, especially in the workplace, because what I've noticed is a lot of low quality people love the workplace. Like they love these regular entry level jobs like retail and being a server and all of that. These low quality people, as in people with very low self-esteem, as well as people who resort to any and every type of behavior in order to prove a point or look good. These people that don't have high standards, they'll just do whatever. They'll manipulate whoever, treat people however in order to make themselves feel good. A lot of those people love to go to the workplace. Because when you see, wow, 12 an hour, whoa, 15 an hour, and you have low self-esteem, you're going to go towards jobs like that. And I'm not saying that I'm making any more than that. I'm not rich. I'm damn shit. I wish I was real. I'd be struggling financially. When is it going to end? But for me, I have, jobs working, 15 an hour, whatever. And for me, I'm like, yeah, but I ain't going to do this forever. But those people, the difference is, those people think they're going to have to do it forever. They feel that they're going to have to do it in their 40s, 50s, 60s, 70s, 80s, 90s. Where you have it in your mind, at some point, I'm going to stop doing this. And I'm going to own my own businesses. And I'll make my own money. And I'll be rich. Yeah, so that is all I have for you today. I'm going to make a video on how to protect yourself against proximity delusion and the things that happen when the negative things that happen when people view you as a threat in the workplace because of your looks and your talent and your charisma and how good you are at your job. It's something that in the past it would not have been easy for me to talk about, because I just after going through narcissistic abuse, the narcissist always tries to convince you that you are the narcissist. And so I would have felt like, is this narcissistic for me to make a video where the basis of the video has something to do with me being attractive? Like, is that not narcissistic? But no, it's reality. Okay, so I don't care. Feel how you want to feel. Give this video a thumbs up. Share it with your friends. Man, I'm gonna have to do a crap ton of editing. This video is an hour long. What the heck did I just do? Okay, y'all have a good night. Bye bye.